professional place
Yes.
to look for people and to put information. So I'm not talking so much about my hobbies. Is that correct?
Right. You're not talking about your hobbies. And I think even without it's said, but even without it having to be repeated, most people know that's not the place to say that I went for a walk with my dog or I was hanging out at the park.
Okay.
Everything generally in that space is professional and has something to do with your business, because that is that's your professional resume right there online.
Excellent.
So you're careful about who you are becoming friendly with and who you are connecting with, because you want to make sure it's on the right platform, because other people are viewing you all the time there to see who you are. That's your now resume.
Yes.
And your vitae, and it's all online. So the more accurate and the more up to date it is for your betterment. So as you keep adding on your accomplishments, and then you get people to interact with you, a little bit easier, I think, than Facebook.
Okay.
When I put up last week that I had become a NUSI certified teacher, I have been receiving. Oh, got a call.
Okay.
Hi.
Hello, caller. How are you today? Hello, caller. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi. How are you? What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hi. My name is Samaya, and I'm calling from the Biz Camp.
Okay. You said Shamaya.
Yes.
How do you spell that, Shamaya?
S. Oh, I'm good.
Okay. It sounds like you got your radio. You got your radio on, or your computer.
The computer there at the camp. Samaya, this is from the Biz Camp. Hi, sweetie. You have a question?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, go ahead with your question, please, Maya.
Well, I really don't have a question. I would just like to thank Miss Crystal for all that she has done for us, and I really appreciate her for that. And I'm really interested when she's teaching us, and it's very fun.
Oh, excellent. That is good. That is good. Crystal, you want to say hi to Samaya?
Hi, Samaya. How are you? Are you guys watching the show? Are you watching the show? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you guys watching the show?
Yes, we are.
Okay. And you're behaving for Miss Rhonda?
Yes, we are.
Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for listening, Samaya. We really appreciate that. And keep on listening, and make sure you get 10 of your friends to tune in also, okay?
Okay.
She actually has 31 friends right now tuning in.
Well, tune in to all 31 of them. Have them listen, okay?
Thank you,
Okay.
sweetheart. I appreciate the wonderful accolades that you guys gave me. That I really, really treasure that.
Thank you,
Okay.
Thank you, sweetie. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So that's 31 of your 14,000.
That's 31 of my 14,000. I come with a lot of people behind me.
There you go.
So, Mr. Pallay, we were talking
Sir.
about loans, and we're talking about what does small businesses need to do in order to get ready for a loan when they're looking for small business financing. So we talked about the business plan. We talked about making sure that your market analysis is done, and also having an idea what products or services you're offering, and make sure that you can actually demonstrate or articulate what that product does and what type of pain it's solving in the marketplace. And that's a necessary pain that's needed, right?
Right.
So now the next phase of this, I'm sure you probably want to see some financial statements. So what type of financial statements do you want from small business owners?
Just in between the financial statements, as we've identified that we can solve a pain, when we talked about customer acquisition, I'm just going to take it one step back, and then we're going to go 2 steps forward
Okay.
really, really quickly.
No problem.
As we step backwards and recognize that we can solve a pain, oftentimes when I get business plans as a part of the financial package, people put fancy graphs and charts in from Excel, which is wonderful. But there's something called sales assumptions.
Right.
When you give me that fancy chart, I need to know the background. How did you get there? We talked about customers. What is it going to cost you to acquire that customer? Or what's the expense to maintain that customer? What is the expense to keep your doors open if you're in a retail space?
Right.
If you're in your home, maybe you have home expenses. Is there anything that you have to buy or use? in order to purvey that product, in order to convey that product out to your customers. So I want to know the sales assumptions. What are your activities every day? Now that you told me about those expenses, and you know where all that's going before I get to financials? It's in your projections. Once you realize what it costs you to put your product to market and get your customers to say, I want to buy that product, you've now transacted a sale, you now have revenue. Wonderful.
Yeah.
But in the projections, how quickly are you going to get revenue?
Right.
You may bake the cupcakes today and be ready to take them to market, but it may be 3 days before your first customer comes and buys a cupcake.
And what strategy are you using to reach out to that customer in
Absolutely.
order to get the sale?
Absolutely. So I want those projections. From those projections, then those numbers should feed into your profit and loss. This is what my product is. This is what my cost of goods sold are. So it's that sale, then the cost of goods sold from that sale. Now I have my gross revenue.
Yeah.
Now I may have employee expenses. I have my phone bill, and today it's DirecTV
Right,
and internet.
exactly.
And
Right, exactly.
so after I pay all my internet providers and my TV and everything I use to get to that customer, my bottom line is what? That's my profit.
And that's a very good point you just brought up right now, because I'd like to share this with some of our listeners out there. A number of them have asked us about cost of goods sold. What is cost of goods sold? Can you really tell them a little bit about that? What a cost of goods sold is?
What you want to look at when you're looking at cost of goods sold, you want to look at the direct expenses for your product. Those other expenses that we mentioned, that's part of your operating cost. But the direct expense to either make or distribute that particular product, those are your costs of goods sold.
Excellent, excellent. So small businesses out there, entrepreneurs, that's exactly what this is all about. And what we're going to do right now, we're going to come right back to Mr. Pallay, but we're going to take a quick break, 2-minute break right here. So let's go to break.